Hello guys, so as you saw in the previous video, we saw like an existing map from ArcGIS Online. Right now we want to create our new scene. So the way to create a new scene, you can open a new scene but don't select any existing maps. So if I go back to the content and I say leave here because I don't want to save any changes, and I click on scene again, you will see that scene will open and it will ask you, do you want to add any existing of these layers? I'll say no, I want to create my own new scene. And also, if you have any existing scene opened, you can also come here and say open a new global scene or new local scene. So this one is a global scene and it's empty. We have nothing here, we have no layers, we have nothing. So the first thing we need to do is to save it. So we will come here and say save scene, so we can save it to our content and we can change the name for this one. And here I will save as my first scene, and I will add the summary as scene and tags scene, and I will say save to my content. So right now this map is saved for our content and we can start work on it and do any changes. So as you saw in the previous video, we can change the base map. So let's change the base map to for example imagery, and let's see what layers we can add. When you click add layer, you will see that you don't have as many options as you have with the map. You cannot add a layer from file, and you cannot add a CSV file or JSON file or a shape file. You can only add layers that exist in your content, or you can add a layer from online or any URL layer. The same thing we did before. Using this URL or this map service URL, we can add it from here. So I will add this auto theft layer from my content, and it will be added to my map as points, and it will zoom to the location of this layer. So let's hide the layers here, and when you zoom in or out and you change your view, you will see that you have the 3D elevation and the points is showing on this 3D. So your features or your layer is matching the elevation of the base map. So you can view your layers in 3D if you want. And if you zoom in more, you will see that all the features you have is showing on 2D, but you can change how this symbology looks like for these points by going to the layers, say done, and here you go to this properties, and let's see what these options do for us right here. Here you have the layer style where you can change the symbology. Here you have the layer properties. It will open the properties for you, so you can enable, disable pop-ups. You can enable or disable the legend. You can change the transparency for this layer, and you can set the minimum and maximum scale. And here you can add filter to your layer. For example, we can add a filter to show days of the week to be only on Sunday and Saturday. So we want to see the weekend theft, how much it is and where it's located. Say done, and our map right now will show only the theft that happened on Sunday and Saturday, but we cannot see the difference because all of them have the same color. So we can come here and change the style, and here we will choose the field to change the symbology based on the days of the week. And you can change the color and the size of your symbols based on the 2D types. Same thing we did with the map viewer, but here we have the option to change our points to look as 3D. So we will select 3D types, and the default 3D symbol is this cone. So we will go to options to change it to something else. So here we have the options to change the symbology. So we will select this one, and I will say change this marker. So let's say we can change the Saturday theft to be transportation symbol, look like a red car, and we will say done, and or our symbols will change, but make sure to change the size of your symbol. So let's change it to 25 and see. So 25 is still a very small. So one of the things to see how your symbol will look like on the current view, you can click here and say fit to view, and that will customize the size of your symbol to match the current view. So if I click here, it will automatically change the size of my symbol so I can see it. But when we zoom in, you see that the symbols is still very large, and that is very big symbol for this current view. So I'm gonna click here again and say fit to view, and this is a nice looking size for the symbol. It just represents the location where this incident happened. So we don't need to have the car as a regular size car. We just need to make sure that it shows the location where this incident happened. And we can do the same thing with the Sunday. We can change the marker to be a blue car, say done, and we do refresh here again, so we can make the size of the Sunday similar as Saturday. So when you zoom out, you cannot see the symbol, but when you zoom in, you will see the symbol. And you can change the size value or the unit for the size from here, and you can change your size however you want. And here you can change the size and the rotation for all the markers. That will be applied to all of the markers right here. And here you can change the elevation mode to choose between on the ground, relative to scene, or absolute height. And when you change each option, you will see how that will look like. So you will get a better idea of what option you need to change. So because there's some elevation here, we see that some points doesn't show up because here we said absolute height and we don't have any Z values for this locations. So we will put it back relative to ground so we can see all the features we have. And we can change the offset, and the offset will elevate this point. So if, for example, put 150 here and say OK, you will see that it's 150 meters above the ground, and this of course doesn't look right, but that's how you can change the offset from here. You can change it to be an offset from the ground however you want. So we will change this back to 0 and bring our flying cars to the ground. Say OK, and here you can enable the labels for the features. So if you enable the labels, you will choose what field you want to use. So here, for example, we can choose the incident number, and you can change the size and the color of your labels. Same thing we have with the regular map viewer. And after you finish changing your symbology, make sure to click done. So you save your edits and click done again, so you make sure that your edits is saved. The other options here we have is the same options we have with any other layer. Zoom to, move up or down based on how many layers you have. You can group them or ungroup them. You can hide in the layers so it's not gonna show up right here. You can rename it, you can remove it, and you can add it to an existing group. So that's the options here we have in the designer or in the layers. And here at the bottom we have the option to create slides, and slides will just create a slide using the current map view. So you can add a new slide and it will capture the current map view with all the settings and all the layers inside of it. And we can call this one car theft 1, and you can add as many layers as you want, and you can choose one of them and you can reorder the slides. And after you finish adding your slides, you click done to save your slides. And the last option here we have is properties, and properties will allow you to change your thumbnail. You can change your thumbnail here, so let's make this thumbnail looks like that, and we will click refresh to capture this current view, and we will keep the title the same, we will keep everything the same. But if you want to update the name, you can change it from here, and when we click done, it will be automatically saved. If you want to make changes and save your scene again, you can click here and make sure you do these changes. If you want to save your current scene as another scene, you can save it as a new scene and you give it a different title. So that's it for the scene. You don't have as many options as you have in the map viewer, but right now you can add your 3D data, you can customize your symbology, you can save your scene and share it with anyone you want, so you can view your 3D data on a scene viewer. And if you have any questions, please let me know, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.